A number of weeks ago, my sister sent me a quick note letting me know that a friend of the family was very, very ill. And this is a woman who was still living in the town that I grew up in. And the town that I grew up in is the town that my dad was born and raised in. And when I was growing up in this town, there was a population of about 3,200 people, so it was small, and everybody knew everybody. So this particular friend of the family, her husband was the local dentist, and my mom was the local piano teacher. So all the kids in Betty's family came to my house for piano lessons with my mom, and all of us went to Betty's husband to drill our teeth and do that kind of thing. So we knew each other from school things, all kinds of things that brought our families together. So I decided, well, I haven't seen Betty since my parents' funeral. She came to both of them in 2013. So I thought, this is a great opportunity. I don't really know what's going on with Betty yet. She's very sick. She's 88 years old, but I'm going to write her a letter of gratitude, which I did. So I thanked her for all the things that she and Joe did for our family and for the community. And I sent it to her daughter, who I knew was there, and all of her 4 kids were showing up to help with her care. And I fully expected just to hear from her daughter, who I sent the email to. But instead, I got emails from Betty, who was lying in bed dying. Betty had been diagnosed with esophageal cancer, and it was so far along that there was no treatment. They were just going to keep her comfortable at home. So she was very fortunate. She got to die at home. The whole COVID thing didn't affect her at all. And so Betty wrote back, and she sent a picture. She said she was very happy with the letter, and she sent me a picture that showed me and her daughter, we're at the same age, at a skating carnival. So that was very sweet to see. And then I started asking her questions, because now there's many questions I have that I can't ask my parents. And Betty's still there. And to my astoundment, is that a word? Astonishment. Betty was clear. There was nothing impeding her mind. She was doing the emails herself, and she was telling her kids to look for pictures. So there was a 2-week period there where some days I got many emails with many photos. And so this generated more conversation. And here is Betty, in the process of dying. And we're having this exchange where really, the last time I was really talking to Betty was decades ago. So this was an unexpected, really a gift. One of the series of emails included photos from a grade 6 field trip. So my class was the first class to go away for a week, 60 miles away to this science center. And for many of the kids in this small town, they'd never been anywhere. And so Betty, because she was a former nurse, she went along as the nurse and the surrogate mom, because there were lots of kids crying for their moms at night, even though they were grade 6 kids. We were about to go on to grade 7, junior high, but this was a big deal, and Betty was fabulous. So what struck me with these pictures is that they were taken, they were unposed shots. So there were kids I saw pictures of. I haven't seen these kids in decades. Many of them I knew their names. Many of them I couldn't remember their names. And at one point we were really close. So that was striking. And as I started going through these photos of this trip, the impact, the teaching of the 8 sufferings of human beings was getting into my mind in a way that it never had before. And it's the one teaching I rely on. If I have doubt, this is the one I go to. But something else got into my deluded mind with these photos. And so I saw kids, these fresh-faced grade 6 kids who are so excited to be in this beautiful place doing science experiments outside. We were looking for fossils and finding trilobites. We were doing little experiments by a lake. And to see what I now know of what happened to some of them since then. So, for example, there's the boy that I had a crush on in grade 4, and his dad was one of the doctors in town. And his dad died a few years after that, at about age 48, of ALS. And the family was so worried about the boy in my class because there's a strong genetic link with that illness. They were so worried about Randy And Randy didn't get that illness, but it took out his elder sister, and she died of it at age 56. Then there was the boy with red curly hair that I had a huge crush on in grade 1, and I got in trouble for kissing him. We were waiting in line to sharpen our pencils, and I just couldn't just resist it. I mean, he reminded me of my brother. And so, of course, the principal called my mom, and I was so embarrassed. So that cured my kissing of other people in public for just about. And this man now is a raging alcoholic. He's been an alcoholic for decades. He lives in the building that has a bar below, and there's hotel rooms above. And I'm quite astounded that he's still alive. And then there's the girl who was really, really cool in high school. She was good looking, extremely smart. She could have done anything, actually anything. She dated one of the coolest guys in the school, who was also a football player, of course. And, they parted company at grade 12, and she went on to become a photojournalist, and she was extremely talented. And when she was going out to a job, she was involved in a horrific car crash that left her. She survived it, and I think mentally she was mostly okay, but she lived for many, many years in constant physical pain that was just almost insurmountable. And so I saw her. The only school reunion I went to was the 20-year reunion, and I saw her at this reunion. And she had these very thick elastic bands on her wrist, and I said, "Susan, what's that for?" And she said, "Well, I have to pull these about every few minutes." And I said, "Why do you do that?" And she says, "Well, it takes away the pain that I'm feeling in my body. It distracts me for a few minutes because I really do it quite hard, and there's this shot, and then I'm distracted from the pain." And then 4 years ago, I learned that she couldn't take the pain anymore, and she took her own life. So, all of these things that happen in samsara, and you see these fresh faces, and we don't know what's going to happen. And then there was the other story. Well, there's many of the other stories where people are doing okay, but with the 8 sufferings, birth, aging, sickness, death, pretty clear that that's happening for everyone, being separated from what we don't want to be separated from, meeting with what we don't like, not obtaining things we want to get, and we try so hard to get. And I see so many of my friends from school, they spent their lives trying so hard to get the things that society tells us that we should have, want to have, to make us happy, and having a mind and body under the control of afflictions and karma. So those pictures really got to me. And then there's the game that I play with my sister when I visit her in town, and the game is, do you know who's coming? So she lives in the town now. She moved back there. And she will see someone that I went to school with or that she went to school with. And so she'll go like this. We're walking down the street, and she'll say, "Do you know who that is?" And I'll say, "Oh, I have no idea." And she'll tell me who it is. And of course, they don't know who I am either. So it's a mutual kind of thing. But to see the fact that we're all aging, right? Hair is lost. People expand in size or they reduce in size. And we're all under the control of karma and afflictions. And so that interchange with Betty was really so precious. I'm really glad I wrote to her when I did. If you have the chance and you think of a childhood friend, a mom in the family who took care of you, write to them now. They may still be alive. But just to see the situation we're in, and this was one way that took me there in a very potent way, and to just rejoice that, those of us who have met a spiritual practice can help us out of this mess called samsara. And that maybe when we're future Buddhas, not maybe, of course, when we're future Buddhas, we will be able to look for our childhood friends. We have a karmic connection with them, and we'll be able to help them out.